Hi, this is one of the first videos I'm putting together to try and help students and staff with using the Casio fx-CG50. So I just thought we'd start with a few of the basics. Firstly, turning my calculator on, big blue button, and then often you will have this menu, excuse the lag on the video, often you will have this menu here, and the one you want as your main calculator screen is number 1. So you can either use the scroll pad here and press execute. Execute is your new equals sign, so you can either press execute to go in there, or the shortcut for it is also the number 1 as indicated on there. So I'm going to press the number 1, and this is my normal calculating screen. So this screen has a true view display like the other calculators that you're used to using. If you use the Casio fx-CG50 Plus, it works in a very similar way to that one. It's called True View or Natural Display. So I'm using here the Corbett Maths booklets. Use of a calculator seem to be a really good place to start. So if I turn over, same as always with that first question, you are using the square root button, 7.84, add 6.5 squared, execute. But can you see here that square root line has gone all the way along? So that's one thing to be careful of. When you finish the square root, use the cursor to come out of that option and then continue to enter the calculation. Add my 6.5 squared, looks exactly the same as it does on the page. At the bottom, execute is the button I'm going to press now. If I press execute, it gives me the answer of 45.05. Underneath, looking at question number 2, I then have fraction button first, 5 over 0.4, and there's my squared button, equals 31.25. This one here, now I've got 5.2 to the power of 3. This doesn't have a cubed button or an XY button. What it does have is the shortcut you often see on a keyboard when you're using a computer. So this one here raises it to the power 3. Now if I continue to write the rest of the calculation, it stays in the power. So just as earlier, you come out of that, so it's no longer in the index, and I add the square root of 5,655.04. Execute for my answer, that is 215.808. Turning my page over. Something trying to look at next that we might come across, just flick through a few more questions, is here where we've got the brackets. So we haven't done one with brackets yet. Enter it in the same way. 5.2, open bracket, 3.8, subtract 2.7, close bracket, execute for my answer, 5.72. Same as before. If I keep going, try and see if I can find something else that's a little bit different on here. Here we go. 3 to the power of 6. I know we've used that already, but remember it's this button here that I'm going to use, 729. And then for the reciprocal of 1.5, it doesn't have an x to the minus 1 key as it does on the fx-CG50 Plus, but all we would do in this instance is put it to the power of -1. So we'd use that same one there. Here it's given to me a decimal. Just like the fx-CG50 Plus, if I press the S to D button, it will convert that to a fraction for me if that's the form that I would prefer to use. For the cube root of 6,859, you could put it to the power of a third, or you could use this option here, so shift, index, and that's the cube root, using the cursor button to go into the next box, 6859 equals, and then I've got 19. So there's that option there as well. Underneath, question number 13 just brings a few more things together to practice again. So I bring in the x root, or the xth root, so the fourth root of 100, subtract 2.4 to the power of 3, and then that gives me 3.04681849. Just checking on the last page of this. And then it just asks for 7 times root 3 and giving my answer as a decimal. So I think we've covered everything on that little clip that you would need to be able to access and answer the questions from the Corbett Maths booklet, Use of a Calculator. One of the benefits I will point out now is that if I want to check any of my answers are correct, I can just scroll back up through the calculator screen and I can see every single thing I've inputted. It's really good, really helpful, especially in an exam situation when you want to check every calculation that you've done with the time that you've got on the end. Thank you very much.